This is a mechanical keyboard from a company called Yuni. In this video, I'm going to tell you why this might be my new everyday keyboard. Let's get into it. My name is Patrick and this is Everyday Tech. Everyday Tech for everyday people. I've reviewed a number of mechanical keyboards on this channel. Some I've really enjoyed using and some not so good. Recently, my everyday go-to keyboard has been the Skylong GK87 Pro. That is until this guy showed up on my doorstep. This is the Yuni B75 Pro mechanical keyboard. This is a 75% keyboard with a knob for controlling your volume or changing the backlight mode. It has full hot swappable keys and switches. You can use it both wired or wirelessly through Bluetooth or 2.4 gig USB dongle. Full disclosure, Yuni did reach out to me and ask me if I'd take a look at this keyboard. Although they did provide me with this keyboard for free, they're not seeing this video before it goes up. All my opinions are my own. As always, feel free to skip to any part of this video using the timestamps here or going to any chapters of the video. The B75 is very well built. The casing is all plastic, but it feels very well put together. This is a 75% keyboard, which means that you have more of a compact design and you won't have things like the numpad that you find on a 100% keyboard layout. Now we have our full function keys on the top. This keyboard seems to be a Windows first keyboard, so the Mac media keys are not labeled. Now I bring this up a lot in my different keyboard reviews that I've done. Part of the reason why I really love the Keychron keyboards is that the Keychron keyboards seem to be a Mac first and then Windows compatible keyboard. Now with many of these mechanical keyboards, they are made for Windows PCs, and sometimes I need to adapt them to my Mac setup. Of course, if you're a Windows user, no problem for you. I do like the keyboards that can switch the layout modes between the two operating systems. So the Keychron keyboards can do that. The Skylong keyboards can do that as well. And I'm happy to say that this Yuni keyboard can switch between them as well. Now it's easy, really easy to switch to Windows. You can just press the function key and A. To switch to Mac, function key and S. Now I'm not going to go over all the keyboard shortcuts of this keyboard, but the documentation is really good. Now a little bug that I did find, I think it's a bug, is that the keyboard shortcut for checking the battery life is the function key and the right control key, but it only works if you have it in Windows mode. And it doesn't work if you have it in Mac mode, where I have it almost all the time. Speaking of the keys, this is a backlit keyboard, and I'll get into the backlight functions in a moment. But the keycaps themselves are not shine through or transparent on the letters themselves. The light shines behind the keycaps. Now, I bring this up because a lot of the keyboards I've been reviewing are the same way. They're not transparent keycaps. And I always get one or two comments saying that this is a deal killer for them. So this keyboard, again, might not be for some of you for that very reason. For me, it's definitely not been a big deal because I'm never in an environment where the backlight on these keyboards is never enough. I'm also a touch typist where I barely look down on my keyboard. For you gamers, and in particular for those who play first-person shooters, Yuni does provide transparent keys for the WASD keys. Although, as you can see from the picture, only the bottom portion of the keycaps are transparent because that's where the backlight is for each of the switches. They are south-facing LEDs. Let's talk about the backlight now. You can cycle through all the backlight effects by pressing the function and insert key together. The keyboard has more than 20 built-in backlight modes. They can either be static, moving, or reactive to touch. With each effect, you can change the color by using the function and N key. You can change the brightness with the function and up and down arrows. If you have an effect with movement, you can change the speed of that movement with the function and left and right arrow keys. You can toggle on and off the backlight with the function and backspace keys. I usually am pretty boring and usually prefer a solid color. Here's how the keyboard looks in the dark. This keyboard does have a knob that has two modes. One is mainly for volume control. If you press the knob, that will mute and unmute the sound. If you long press the knob, it'll switch the knob control to the backlight. The turn will adjust the brightness, and pressing the knob will change the mode. Now, I don't find this particularly useful, so I mainly keep it on the volume control mode. Finishing up on the tour around the keyboard, we have the single USB-C port for a wired connection, and also to charge the keyboard. Next to that, we have a switch to change between Bluetooth and the 2.4 USB dongle. The off position is in the middle unless, of course, you have the USB-C cable plugged in. Next to that, you have a slot for the 2.4 gig dongle, which is USB-A. On the bottom, you have plenty of rubber pads to keep the keyboard secure on a flat surface. And lastly, you have these adjustable feet to change the typing angle. You can raise the angle of the keyboard 2 levels higher. Let's get into now how the keyboard sounds and feels while typing. Now, I'm going to be comparing this to one of my other keyboards, the Skylong GK87 Pro, which I mentioned before has been my everyday keyboard. Here's how they compare. It's kind of hard to hear from the recording, but these two keyboards have a little different sound signature. I think the Yuni gives off a slightly higher pitched tone, but still giving you that overall thoughtful feel. I have a feeling that I might be switching back and forth between these two keyboards every once in a while, but if I had to choose between these two keyboards, I'm going to go with the Yuni. As far as the sound is concerned, it's cleaner. As far as the typing feel is concerned, comparing these two keyboards, the Yuni seems to have a more firmer and stable feel to each key press. That might be one of the reasons why the sound is cleaner. The overall feel when typing on this keyboard is amazing. It's hard to explain, but I really do enjoy typing on this keyboard. Like most mechanical keyboards though, you probably want to be in a room by yourself as these make quite a bit of noise. As far as overall look of the keyboard, it's very simple and nothing flashy. I personally like the look and feel of it, as I'm trying to keep my overall look of my setup a little bit cleaner. You may prefer something more colorful like the Skylong here, but that's the beauty of mechanical keyboards. You definitely can find one that fits your preference and personality. For me, my top priority is functionality and feel. So would I recommend the Yuni B75 Pro? If it's not obvious, yes. It's now my everyday keyboard, and especially at this price point, I think it's such a great value. At the time of this recording, it retails for about $80, but often you can find it cheaper on Amazon. Thanks again to Yuni for sending this keyboard out to me. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Until the next one, see ya.